Awesome. All right. So I know most of you on the call know me, but in case there's some newbies who are watching, my name is Stacey. I started coaching, wow, almost 2 years ago now, 2 years in November. So this has been definitely a journey, but I love it. I love the community, and I love being able to teach other people. So I'm a personal trainer and I have my degree in nutrition. So I think being able to carry over my love for health and fitness online is just amazing. So tonight I want to talk to you guys about how to never run out of people to invite. So I'm going to be explaining kind of my power hour flow. So if you guys have your phone, if you have your like a pen and paper to make some notes, because there is going to be like I'm going to throw some dates out at you, so you might want to take some notes. And I'm going to talk about collections. So does anyone use Instagram collections right now? No? Okay. So I have figured out, well, in my brain, I have figured out a really awesome like flow to use collections so that it works well for your business, so that you can keep track of your people. You always have people to connect with. You're never kind of trying to scroll and find your connections, and you are able to get more eyes on your page and your stories. So what I'm going to do is kind of go through, when I sit down to do my power hour, how I expand my network. And then after we expand our network really quick, it'll just kind of do like a condensed power hour. After we expand our network, then I'm going to teach you how to sort your collections. So does everyone know how to find collections on Instagram? So if you have your phone handy, pull up your Instagram. So I love teaching. I love hands-on. So I'm literally going to kind of like walk you through step by step and teach you how to always have someone to invite. So if you have questions, if you're not sure about something, either put it in the chat or unmute. Like, more questions, the better. So pull up your Instagram, go to your profile. And at the very top of your profile in the right-hand corner, you're going to see 3 vertical lines. If you push on those and then you're going to hit saved, that's how you pull up all of your saved posts, and that's how you're going to be pulling up all of your collections. So that's where you find your collections once you've saved your people. Okay, so when I sit down to do my power hour, what I do is there's 2 ways to expand your network. You can either go to like a friend who's not involved in Beachbody, but maybe they love the same things as you. So maybe they love health and fitness or nutrition or the same clothes as you. So you can go to your friends, and then I like to go to their recent pictures. And from their recent pictures, I like to see the people who have liked their pictures. And the reason why I do likes instead of followers is because followers can be dormant. They can be people who have no accounts, people who hardly are on Instagram. But if you go to the likes on a picture, you're going to get people who are active. So that's why I like to do it that way. And you can do the same thing if you have some really solid like inspo accounts. You know, maybe there's clothing boutiques that you love to shop at and your ideal client shops there, or maybe there's recipe people you follow. Yes. Maybe there's recipe people you follow. So some solid business accounts. And the same thing, I go to their recent pictures and go to likes. That way I get active people, not dormant followers. So let's just do that really quick, because in order to teach you how to use collections and how to work on like connecting, we kind of have to do a few so that it makes sense. So if you go to a friend of a friend, kind of go down the rabbit hole, find a friend, then find one of their friends, and then start liking or start requesting some of the friends' friends. Does that make sense? So when you find, let's say, an inspo account, so let's say you find like a clothing boutique you really, really love, I always save them into a collection called inspo account. So I don't know if you guys can see my iPhone. So this is what my collection looks like. And so when I scroll down, I have all different categories. So in my collections, I literally have one named inspo account. So whenever I'm going to expand my network, I just click on my inspo account and I can pick one of those accounts and just start expanding my network from there. So let's say you were trying to find, first off, let's find a boutique, or if you come across a boutique you like. So let's see if I can find an example for you guys. Okay, so I love coffee. So I found a really, really cute account. They're local. They make the cutest coffee mugs ever. So what I did is I went to their page. They're a smaller page. They only have about 3,000, I don't know if you can even see that, but 3,000 followers. So I really like this really cute coffee mug place. So I'm going to go to their very first picture. And when you go to their very first picture, underneath their picture is a flag. Can you guys, do you kind of see that flag right there? So if you hold it down, it's going to ask you where you want to save it to. So you can either save it to an existing collection, or when you hold the flag down, a little plus sign is going to show up right there in the corner. So you hit the plus, and then you can literally label your collection anything you want. So that's how you can start your inspo collection. Are you guys kind of following me right now? Yeah, okay. So does everyone know how to expand your network? Do you know how to find people to follow? Okay.
No, sorry.
Oh, no, don't apologize. Don't apologize. Okay, so everyone's on their Instagram. Go to a friend. Go to a friend who you think's pretty cool. They aren't doing Beachbody with you. Okay, when you have that friend, give me a thumbs up. Okay, now go to their first picture. Click on who's liked their picture. Do you know how to do that? You click on like the circles underneath the picture to pull up all the people who've liked it. Okay, now when you've done that, just start going down the list and hit request. If you come across an account that's public, go into their page, go to their first picture, go to the people who've liked that picture, request, and then you just literally can get down this rabbit hole. So we're gonna do this for 5 minutes. Go to a friend, go to their first picture, go to the people who've liked it, request. When you come across a public page, go into that page, do the same thing. So this is how we expand. So if you come across a really cute boutique, a really cute, like a restaurant you'd love, or a brewery or a winery you'd love, or a coffee shop you'd love, save them into an inspo account. Make a collection for inspo accounts. Okay, so we're just going to expand for 5 minutes. Go ahead and unmute if you have questions.
What do you mean by inspo account, Stacey? Like, what does?
So inspo account, it's like my inspiration,
Okay.
My inspiration accounts. So these accounts are, my ideal client is following these accounts too. So like I said, I love coffee. I think coffee mugs are cute. So I follow a really cute coffee mug account because I know that other people who like coffee are going to follow it too. So I try to find like similarities. I know I live close to Sarnia, and there's some really cute boutiques in Sarnia. So I follow a couple of the cute clothing boutiques in Sarnia because I like their clothes. So my ideal client is going to like their clothes, and I follow their people. And don't get attached to this. Don't like, you want to look at the pictures a little bit, you know, if it's some creepy
They're hit.
face or some
They're
dude.
huge.
Megan, you're unmuted. If it's, yeah, so don't look at the pictures too much. Like, don't get too hung up on this. Literally just request. You know, don't follow guys if you don't want to coach guys. Don't follow weird pictures if you know, just use a little bit of judgment, but for the most part, don't get attached to this. In 10 minutes, you should be able to follow 50 to 75 accounts. Should be pretty fast.
Okay, so Stacey, like, we're not just kind of picking and choosing, just literally somebody that you're kind of inspired by, everybody that they're following minus weird faces and
Yep.
okay.
Yeah, exactly. So later on, we're going to sort into our collections, unfollow. So right now, we're literally just trying to find some accounts. So when we start sorting, when we start putting them into collections, that's when we start kind of seeing if we have anything in common with them. But right now, this should be a pretty easy exercise. Just follow.
So I just want to make sure. So we're just going to a friend's page, you know, similar likes, whatever, go to their first page, click on their likes, follow. If there's a public page, go to their page, the same thing.
Yep.
And that's all we're doing right now.
Yeah.
So we're not doing any kind of like the collection or anything like that.
No, not yet.
Okay.
No.
Okay.
Now, Kim, if you come across a really cute page and you want to be able to remember that page for later to go back and follow like people from that page, you can save it. But for now, we'll just find people to like.
Okay.
So we've got about 2 more minutes. We're just expanding our network. So I literally do this every single day. When I sit down to do my power hour, this is the first thing I do. Put my timer on for 10 minutes. I love working to a timer because it forces me to stay on point, on track, and I'm a little bit competitive, so I try to beat my timer. So you got to make your power hours fun. Okay, 1 more minute. Okay, so we should have been able to find some accounts. Don't worry if they're private. If they follow you later on, then you can sort them, but don't worry about that. We've expanded our network. Okay, so this is where the fun part comes in. This is where I really, this is how I always have a full funnel. I'm always connecting and I'm always inviting from. So this is the kind of the meat of the call. So remember those collections that I told you about, how you go to your profile, click on your vertical lines and hit saved. That's going to pull up essentially where you're going to be working from for the rest of your power hour. So, okay, so I'm going to take you a step back. Sorry, guys. Okay, so we just followed a whole bunch of accounts. Now I want you to go to your profile. So you're going to go on your home profile page. You're going to click on following, who you are following. So when you pull up your following, Megan, you're always top of my list here. You're going to see, you can't see it. You're going to see on the right-hand side an up and a down arrow. Do you guys all see that? Okay, click the arrows and you want to sort it by latest followed. So all those people that we just went and followed and expanded our network are now at the top of our list. So this is where your sorting comes in. So you're going to hit the first person, look at their profile. So this girl's super cute, but all she posts pictures of is her dog. Oh, hold on. Can you guys still see me? Okay, my husband's on the internet and it's doing something strange. Okay, so the very first person I clicked on, she's super cute, but all she posts pictures of her dog, and that's not really something I'm into. So I just go and I click on follow. And then you go down to the next list. And the next girl I come across, yeah, she's super cute. So first off, make sure she's not like some super like blogger with thousands of followers. So if I like this girl, if I think she's really cute, I'm going to comment on a picture or two, and then I'm going to put her into a collection. So just a little bit of a word of warning. When you're commenting on a picture, make sure it's genuine. Don't say something like, "Oh my gosh, girl, I love your dress." Because the word love is really, really overused and it sounds fake. So if you see something you like, say, "Oh my gosh, that purple sweater looks so good on you. That is so your color." Or, "I love your hair. It looks, blonde is really like nice on you." Or, don't just say, "I love your dress. I love that picture. Cute family." Like, try to put a little bit more effort into it so that people can sense fake, especially since, a lot of network marketing companies are using Instagram now. So you have found somebody you like. So you go into their picture, you go under their picture to the flag. Do you guys see the flag underneath their picture? Okay, hold it down. Did you see how it pops up and says save to? So we're going to create a new collection to start adding in all of the people that we want to connect to in now. We're going to be working towards December. So this is how I make my collection. So push the plus button and you want to label your collection. And I do 6 months. I do 2 months together. So I do January, July, February, August, March, September, April, October, May, November, and June and December. So I always have 2 months in one collection. So that means that when it's time to start connecting and inviting people for my November bootcamp, I have literally hundreds of ladies in there because I have 2 months put together. So that means that every time I rotate through, I'm going to be at least touching those women every 6 months, maybe every like 4 to 5 months, just the way my collections are set up. So I know I probably have lost you guys. So the 1st of the month until the 15th of the month, so October 1st to October 15th, I'm adding my women into my November collection because I'm going to have enough time to connect with those women into my November collection. As soon as it hits past the 15th of the month, so literally October 16th to October 31st, I'm adding into my December collection. So that way I have enough time to genuinely connect with those women, to touch like on those women's profiles, to watch their stories. So that's how I make up my collections. So from the people you have followed, you hold the flag down underneath your pictures and you add them into your corresponding collection. So the women we added tonight, because it's,
Are you naming each collection like by month? Are you titling it by month?
So can you see my notes here? This is literally what my collections look like in my phone. So January/July, February/August, March/September.
So you'll have like a folder for January, July.
Yep.
So your January connections you put in that folder, and then your July connections you also put in that folder.
Yeah. So that gives me a really big, deep pool to always be connecting with and inviting from, and following up from and stuff. So because it's October 22nd, so because we're past the 15th of the month, I've been adding people into my December collection, but it's also my June collection. So people that I add in for December, I'm going to be also touching in June as well.
I think that's where I'm getting like lost is like, okay, so I don't know if anybody else is getting confused, but I'm getting a little confused. So you're like, let's say today you're adding these people as followers, and then the ones you are going to the profile and connecting with, you're adding to a collections, and you're calling it November. So like, meaning that these women that you're connecting with right now, the point of this is that come November, you will be able to invite them to your upcoming group, correct?
Yeah, but I'm actually adding them to December.
Oh, okay. December.
Yeah. Yeah. And I know it seems really far away, but like I feel like I need more than just a week or 2 weeks to connect with someone before I invite them.
Yeah. Okay. That makes sense. So you're adding them to December, but then what are you talking about in June?
So I used to have a collection for each month. But I was finding that it was just too many names, too many people. So now I put my December people in December, and I put my June people in the same folder. So I'm putting 2 months together. So how can I explain how my brain works?
I think I'm just maybe I'm missing something because I did. Andy, stop it. I had to step out for a sec. I just don't know where June's coming from, because June is like, it happened several months ago and it's not happening for a long time. So I just don't understand June. Sorry.
Well, I don't really know how to explain that. So
Stacey, is it that you touch base with them in December and then touch base again with them in 6 months?
Yeah. So
So you basically hit them up twice a year.
yeah, like for invites twice a year, but for connecting, I'd be connecting with them a couple like extra weeks. So you don't have to do the 2 months if it's confusing to you. If that doesn't make sense in your brain, then don't worry about it. I guess the most important thing when you're adding to a collection is making sure that you leave enough time to connect with them. I don't care if people follow me. I don't care if I add people to my network and they follow me or not. If I'm adding people to my network and I can see their profile and we are talking in the message box and I'm liking their photos and I'm liking their stories, they get an invite. So that's why I sort as I connect, because I figure if I give myself enough time to connect with these women on a genuine level, then, and we've had conversations going and I've touched point and I'm a real person, then they get an invite. So that's why I add to the following month. So the 1st to the 15th, they go into November because that gives me enough time to connect with them genuinely. 1st to the 15th, they go into the November's collection. Anything past the 15th, I put them into the following month so that I have enough time to connect with them.
So then in November, Andy, just a second. No, you cannot. So November, like 1st to 15th, you would be putting into December.
Mm-hmm.
And then the end of the second half of November, you'd put into January.
Yeah.
Okay. That flow makes sense. Gotcha.
Flow makes sense.
So Stacey, just to confirm though, so obviously you're filtering as you're going. So people that you've made good connections with, you're removing them from that group. And then obviously you're just continuing on with the relationship. They sign up, everything. But then if they don't sign up, but they're still kind of warm towards you, that's why you keep them in to then check back in May and be like, hey, like it's been a while. And in between still liking and creating that bond. Is that right?
Yeah, yeah. So that's why I have, instead of having 12 months, that's why I have 2 months in each collection, so that I can at least be touching with these women at least twice a year. So that, you know, I'm not just someone who comes around once a year. Hey, join my group. Hey, join my group. Hey, that dress looks good on you. Join my group. So that I'm at least touching point with them every 6 or so months.
So, shoot, I just had a question. I just lost it. Okay, you're sorting.
Yeah.
Are you, so I'm new to the whole,
No,
I've
it's okay.
not used Instagram to this level before. So when you're going in there and you're sorting from people that you literally just connected with.
Just
So when you
followed.
say you're just followed, right? So when you say you're sorting, like in your, are you still sorting in your collections as well? I feel like I'm having a disconnect there.
That's okay. So I follow my accounts. I go and I look at them. And so sorting, I guess I mean like, you know, I go onto their account. Oh, dog lady, cat lady, that's all she posts, unfollow. Oh, she's super cute, I really want to work with her. She goes into my November collection. Oh, she's already a coach, unfollow. Ooh, she's into health and fitness and nutrition, but not a coach. Ooh, I think I'm going to put her into my potential coach folder. So that's kind of like how I sort like that. And then, so for me, everything's on a clock. So I expand for 10 minutes. I sort for 20. You know, even if I don't get through all the people I've followed, I still sort for 20, put them in their homes, unfollow, whatever, put them in their homes. And then I'll go into my collection. And that's when I start connecting, watching their stories, commenting on their photos.
Okay. So you do the connecting part right from your collection.
Yeah.
Got it. Okay.
So the way that you never have people to run out to invite is every day you sit down to do your power hour. You are just putting your timer on, following, just expanding your network, getting more eyes on your profile. That's why your profile is so important. So only about 10% of people actually see your stories. But people, if you follow them, what are they going to do? They're going to go and see who you are. So that's why it's so important that your feed is attractive, right? Like you are talking to these people that you're following. You're talking about whatever your niche is. You do have a few stories up. So if they can't really judge from your profile, they can jump into your stories, scroll through really fast. And so in about 10 or 15 seconds, they're going to tell whether they want to follow you back or not. So that's why I always have some sort of, depending on whether it's my, you know, if I'm enrolling to a boot camp, I either have like a really hard call to action in my stories, or I have like a little bit of a softer call to action, you know, pretty much every day. And I know that doesn't work for everyone's audiences. I know some people hard call to action and nothing, but for me, there's a little bit of something in it every day that way, because every single day I'm expanding my network. So I want people to be able to see what I'm doing, not necessarily like screaming beach body, but screaming health and fitness and wellness. So once you've expanded your network, then you go into your followers, you open up the people you've just followed, and you decide where their home is. So you decide whether you're going to unfollow them, whether you're going to put them into your connection, your next month's connections, whether they're a potential coach. Then after you kind of find all their homes, that's when you go into your collections and you start making those connections. So I used to really struggle and I'd be like connecting from my stories, connecting from people I don't follow, connecting from my followers. but now I'm really pouring my energy into my collections. So that way, when it's actually time to fill my group, I literally have hundreds, like literally have hundreds of people to invite. And like I said, I don't care if they're following me or not. If we've made a connection, if we're talking, if they've responded to my comments on their photos, then, you know, they're getting an invite. And I've had to kind of change my perspective on the whole, because you have so many connections, so many people you're touching on every single day. I've had to change my idea around inviting. So I know when I first started this, you know, people were saying, it's such a gift. You have such a gift to offer people. Well, then I would get upset when people wouldn't take my gift. I'm like, why? Like, I'm offering you this gift of health and fitness. Why are you not taking it? So I've stopped thinking about it as a gift. Yes, what we do is amazing. You know, the opportunity to work out from home and take care of yourself is awesome. But I've started thinking about it more of like an opportunity. So when you offer an opportunity to somebody, they can say no. It's not for them. They can say yes, sure, give me more information, or they can ignore you. So it kind of takes the feelings off of it, because you're just putting it out there. You're planting the seed. So they may not join you, you know, the month that you invite them, but because you're touching back on them in 6 months, because they now have that seed planted, because you've made some connection, they're going to keep an eye on you, and, you know, you may pop up in their page once in a while. And so you're always going to kind of have a warm touch in their account. Does that make sense? So I'm just going to check the chat here. So from Hillary, if you find a new person to follow in October, you will then genuinely build a connection into a group in December. Yeah, that's right. That's exactly right. And if not interested, you'll still work on the contacts and touch back on them in June and see what they've done. Yeah, that's exactly right, Hillary. Does that make sense?
Yeah, completely. I
Okay.
already have like my whole group set up the way that you do it and have people in the collection. So it was super easy. Thanks.
Yeah, you're welcome. No, that's awesome. So,
Okay, so this is probably going to be a really newbie question. I have not done a group or anything like that yet. So when you say you invite, how do you actually go about doing that?
So I keep my invites pretty, here, let's see if I can pull up a sample. I keep my invites pretty non-specific, unless I get super excited about a group. Like my MBF invites were specifically for MBF, and the running group was specifically for running. But my invites, for the most part, are pretty open-ended. That way they don't get overwhelmed. So one of my sample invites would be like, hey, Rachel, I'm enrolling for my next round of a 21-day fitness and nutrition boot camp. And I just wanted to see if you were interested. Totally no pressure if you have something you love. But if not, we focus on overall health and happiness, workouts, nutrition, mindset, and creating lifelong habits. Would you like more details?
Okay. And you send that, is that through just messages?
Yeah, just through my messenger. It's super open-ended. So 21 days, you know, it's not a long commitment. So then when you start talking to them about their goals and stuff, they, you know, I guess when you, to me, because I'm a personal trainer, if I was talking to someone off the street and I said, hey, you want to sign up for a 12-week program? Most people would be like, nope, see you later. But when you say 21 days, they're like, oh, yeah, like, I think I can do that. Yeah, send me more details, right? So, and then I always say, I'd love to send you more details, but before I do, could you just tell me a little bit more about yourself? Where are you coming from? What are your health and fitness goals? Because I find that when you ask questions, when you want to see what people are actually trying to work towards, that's how you gain their trust. If they ask for details and you just spit numbers and spit program details out at them, they're going to walk away. So if you can somehow get them talking about themselves, you can find out what their goals are, what they want to work towards. Then they get really excited and they get a little bit more attached to the idea of working with you.
Okay.
Yeah. Yes, I'll type that out in the chat, Hillary.
Okay,
So
Stacey, I have a
yeah.
question, and
Mhm.
I am sorry, but Andy has seriously been screaming this entire call, like I'm about to lose my mind. So you maybe already talked about this, but so you're not concerned with if they follow you back at all. And see, I am always like constantly, like when I'm about to connect with someone or, somebody that I've been following for a while, and I know that like I've, been commenting on their posts. If I see that they're not even following me, I'm like, F it, like unfollow, move on. Like they're not even seeing my stuff. I've given them lots of opportunity to follow me back. They're not, so they don't even know who I am. So if I were to, like in my mind, if I were to say like, hey, do you want to join my group? They would be like, what are you talking about? Like, I don't know who you are. I don't follow you. I chose not to follow you. That's like my thinking. So, yeah. And I don't know if you already talked about that, but just curious what you think about that.
Yeah, so this is awesome. So the way that Instagram works is if you are touching on people's accounts, if you're liking their stories, they are probably going to see your stuff. Because when I look for accounts to follow, I look for accounts that are smaller. I'm not looking for accounts with thousands and thousands of followers. So I'm looking for accounts with the smaller numbers. So because they have smaller numbers, they're not getting overwhelmed with stuff in their feed. So when Instagram sees that you're liking their pictures and you're watching their stories, you're going to show up in their feed more. So even though they've chosen not to follow you, they've probably seen you and they've probably seen your stuff. And especially if you've put a message in their inbox from a genuine comment on their stories. So
even if you're not following someone, you're still going to see them on Instagram, like when you're just scrolling your news feed.
That's what I've been told. So maybe my information is wrong.
I think that makes sense. Sorry, Megan. I'm the only reason I think that makes sense is because I just created a new page specifically for this, and I've been noticing that I've been having people actively looking at my stories and commenting, liking, whatever, and they're not following me. So I'm showing up somehow for them.
I think and I could be wrong, but I've kind of thought,
like, I know in this search, like when you go to like this search one, you will see people that you don't actually follow. But when you're on like your home, I thought that was it's like being on Facebook. It's only people who you are friends with.
Right.
That's what I was always under the impression, because everyone who shows up on my home scroll are people I follow. If I go to my search, there's like viral posts and like, people that I've maybe looked at but didn't follow or unfollowed, or do you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But I'm not someone who scrolls the search, and I didn't have Instagram ever either. So I don't know, do regular people scroll the search page? Maybe.
Megan, I think you're right. So I think your homepage is just who you follow. And then if you go to your search page, it's like random people from wherever, most times stuff that you're interested in.
Right. Okay. So
I know what you're trying to say, Stacey, because I have people who I like have connected with before and we have a great friendship and I follow them, but they don't follow me back. And I don't like unfollow them because I'm actually like, we've actually kind of like created a connection. I don't mind chatting with them once in a while, but I don't know. That also could be me like wasting my energy.
This is so interesting. I guess I've never like utilized the search page. Like maybe that's where people like, again, I have no idea if any of you guys used Instagram before you joined Beachbody, like do people scroll the search page? Because maybe they do. I mean, someone obviously is. So yeah, it's like opening up a whole other like mindset for me, because I just was like, oh, they're not following me, I'll unfollow them. But maybe that's not the case, that they actually still can be seeing my stuff without without them having to follow me. So it's very interesting.
I kind of think it was kind of like window shopping. Just you walk by the stores and you see their stuff and you might be interested in it, but you never really get around to checking it out. And then, you see, and then, that's when the connections, you've noticed that these people or, whatever, have put kind of like a little bug in your ear. And so when someone says, so I never say, hey, join my group. Because then they'll be like, what are you talking about? I don't want to join a group. I actually say, join my fitness and nutrition boot camp. Because that, to my client, to my ideal client, that's going to sound interesting.
And then
so I think it comes.
Do you find like the majority of the time the response is like, ooh, like what is that? Because they haven't necessarily been seeing like your stories every day or anything. And so then you're just kind of like starting at square one of like, oh, okay, well, like tell me a little bit about you, and kind of starting there. Then is that what you find?
So then, yeah, so that's where, so I've got my collections organized so that I'm always connecting from my collections. And then when it comes time to invite, and I invite to my fitness and nutrition boot camp, I tell them exactly what we focus on. We focus on, mindset, sustainable life changes, health and wellness. And then that's when I find, when I send that invite, if they haven't been following me or they haven't, responded back, when I send that invite, they're like, okay, this girl's been chatting to me a little bit already. I send that invite, and that's when they go and check out my profile. So that's when I tend to get a lot of like follows, is from that invite, because they see my profile, it says right on there, personal trainer, nutrition coach, and then they might see some stuff in my stories. And then that's when they go, oh, okay, yeah, sure, send me the details. But I don't just send them the details. That's when I send almost another connection message, and I say, I'd love to send you details, but I always like to get to know my clients just a little bit better, to see where you're at and what you're looking for. Are there any specific health and wellness goals that you'd like to work towards? And so from there, I either get ghosted, which I have a ghosted message, or they send me their goals and what they want to work towards and what type of program they like and what type of workouts they like. And then we start to talk, and then I start to tell them why I can help them, how I can help them. I find their pain points. I figure out whether they like cardio. I figure out whether they like weights. They want to go at the gym. They just want nutrition help. And then we kind of circle down. So it does take a little bit more effort on the back end, because you're connecting a little bit heavier after you've already sent your invite, because that's when you're gaining their trust. That's when you're trying to figure out their goals and what they're looking for. But that's where most of my signups happen. Yeah.
There we go. And I just want to say, what you do works, because you and I did not know each other prior to Instagram. And it was funny because I actually had a friend of a friend who tried to recruit me to Beachbody, and I was not interested. And then you come in doing your magic. And I'm like, oh yeah, Stacey and I are friends. I'm going to sign up under Stacey. I didn't know Stacey a month before that. So definitely what you do works for sure.
And I think what has been really, really well, working really well for me, is my rejection message. I have a standard rejection message and I have a standard, ghosted message. So I'm connecting with these people, soft connections, hard connections, whatever you want to call it. They're following me or not, whatever way you want to look at it. I send them an invite and they say, nope, no, thank you. Thanks for touching base, but I'm not interested. I have a standard message that I send and I give them value in my message. I actually have my rejection message linked to a free meal plan. So I'm not just saying, okay, thanks, check you out next time. I'm actually giving value to them so that they're like, oh, she's genuine. She's not just trying to make a sale. She is really trying to help me. And I find that, again, from that, I get a lot of follows because people are like, they start to trust me a little bit more. So if someone says to me, obviously, if someone says to me, nope, don't ever talk to me again, I never want to talk to you, they get removed from my collection. But if I get ghosted or I get told no, they stay in my collection and I keep touching with them. Because again, I'm offering an opportunity, I'm planting a seed. I'm not really expecting them to join me off my first invite, but if they do say no, I want to give them value. If they say yes, then I'm going to figure out what we can do to work together. So my standard no message, I literally have a Google Docs link with a free no cook 5-day meal plan. So when they say no to me, I just say, no problem. I totally understand. I run these boot camps every month. So if something ever happens and you want to jump in, I'm totally here for you. But in the meantime, here's a simple 5-day meal plan for you to get some ideas from. Send that out to them. And I get a lot of, oh, wow, thank you. That's awesome. Or great, thanks. Do you only do nutrition? Do you do only workouts? And so again, it gets more more conversations going. So that's kind of my process. I know my brain doesn't obviously work like a lot of your brains. All of our brains are so different. We're wired so differently. I think the biggest thing you can do when you're doing your power hour is just constantly expanding your network, not getting too tied up on the outcome. Who's following you, who's not following you, who's talking to you, who's not talking to you. I very much treat my page like a business. I'm not going to be everyone's cup of tea, and that's okay to me. But I know that what I have is incredible. And I know I have value to offer. So whether you say yes or you say no, you get value either way.
I think this is genius, Stacey, honestly. Like, it's just going to take me some time to kind of wrap my head around it and how to like actually utilize it. But like, I like to be organized. Because really, like what I've been doing, if I'm inviting or just trying to stay in contact with like people, I'm constantly like scrolling up and down my messages, and it just seems so random. And I mean, it's okay, but I like this method that like it just seems very organized and it's intentional. You know, like I like it's going to take me a bit to get used to, but I like it, like because it's like now like when you say you're like you follow somebody and it's just I don't know, like you're following someone else's followers, but I like the idea of still doing that but kind of going to like find this cute little boutique or a coffee shop and just kind of I really like I like that idea. I think it's just a kind of new perspective on it and I like it. Thank you for sharing.
Yeah. And I know like I'm working on my explaining. And I know like the double months is kind of tripping a lot of you up. But in my mind, I just didn't want to be that girl, that coach that comes around once a year and tries to sell something. So I was trying to think in my mind, I was like, how can I make the most touches on their account? So if I combined every 6 months, then I was touching on them, multiple times a year, because it's past the 15th of October. So I'm touching on, November's already and December's. So I've got 2 collections that I'm touching on. So, I'm constantly touching on people's pages.
So for the first half of the month, so from the 1st to the 15th, you're adding the followers to 2 months away.
So let's use
Or-
October, for example.
Okay.
So from October 1st to October 15th, they go into November.
Okay, so a month.
Yeah.
Okay.
From the 16th to the 31st, they go into December's.
Okay. That makes sense.
Because I need enough time to actually connect with them, not just be some random cold invite. And again, I don't get hung up on whether they follow me. And I think that's just, honestly, I think that's just my business brain working from when I was a personal trainer and I had to run my own boot camps. I wouldn't worry about whether I was friends with the person or not. If I seen someone and they kind of looked interested in fitness, I'd be like, hey, I'm running a boot camp, come join me, right? Like, so I think that's just my mentality. I don't worry about whether they're following me and we're friends. If we've connected, if we brush shoulders, aka if I've commented on their posts and like their stories, then I can invite them to work out with me. So once I've made my connections and we've talked about their goals and we figured out what program works for them and they've enrolled with me and they are working with me and I am their coach and they are my client, that's when I form my bonds and my friendships. And that's when I check in to see how they're doing. And that's when, you know, I figure out when their birthday is and whether they have a dog or a kid, you know what I mean? So like my connection kind of comes after my business. And I know that might be cold or a little bit backwards, but I'm very much here to run a business, not to make millions of friends. So, yay, Hillary, good. I'm glad it's working. Yeah, and it really does happen so fast. You can you do this every day and you can gain quite a few followers and touch points on hundreds of other people. So as long as you're expanding, you're sorting into your collections. So 10 minutes to expand, 10 minutes to put them in their home, or 20 minutes, sorry, to put them in their homes. Then you go to that home and you start connecting from there. If you do that 2 times a day, 3 times a day, do you know how many people you can connect with? How many people you can put in your collection? How many people you'll have in your funnel to invite? So I hope, let's see if I have any other tips. So yeah, it's just an opportunity. You're planting the seed. People might say no, people might say yes, and yeah. So when you go to connect, do you go into your collections to do that? Yes. So when it actually comes time to connect, I connect first from my collections because that's where my invites are going to be coming from. So first from my collections. And then if I have time left over, then I always go to the people at my table. So I always go to my stories or my posts and I genuinely connect with the people who are already following me, already loving my stuff, so that I'm finding new people, but I'm also serving the people already at my table, because I do have a lot of people watching my stories and a lot of people liking my posts that haven't joined me yet. So I want to be touching point with them as well. So I do my power hour, but then I have an actual connection hour where I just I do my power hour, I do all the things on the tracker, and then I take another hour because I kind of find it fun and I connect with people. 10 minutes to follow, 20 minutes to sort and add to their collections, 30 minutes to make connections is your power hour. Yep. And then when it comes to inviting, it's literally invite. You can pop out 20, 25 invites for a day. The next day you can pop out another 20 or 25 invites, right? You can get all your invites in from your collections.
And
so I think that's, sorry, go ahead, Kim.
No, sorry. I was just gonna say, in your invites is really, you just take your standard message and it's more or less like a copy and paste.
For the most part, you know, if we've had a conversation kind of
Yeah.
going on and they've said, you know, I'm 6 months postpartum, or, you know, I love to run, you know, then I will tailor it depending on if I'm talking to that person. But like for the most part, yeah, come work
Okay.
out with me.
Awesome. Okay.
Yeah. I think I wasn't sure if there was anything else I was going to say. So I've got my standard, for the most part, my standard invite. I've got my standard rejection message with value. I've got, that's one more thing that I do in my power hour is I do go, and I know Megan's talked about this before, I do go and connect with the people who choose to follow me. So if someone decides to follow me, well, that's a good question. So if someone does actually decide to follow me, whether we've connected before in the past or not, I send them, hey, thanks so much for the follow. I appreciate the support. Check out my stories. I share tons of info and tips. So next time you're scrolling, be sure to check them out. So I always send that message to the people who recently follow me, even if it's from my collections and we've kind of touched point before. So I do have quite a few messages. And then my ghosted message, see if I can find it here. It's kind of getting late tonight. So what I'll do, if you guys haven't had a chance to like get these down, what I'll do is I'll put together like a little document, and I'll put these on the page for you guys tomorrow or Saturday, just depending on my day. So I will put my messages up. Now I just ask that you obviously make them sound like you, right? Oh, you can post them in the comments of the recording. Oh yeah, that's a good idea. Okay. So I have 2 ghosted messages, just kind of depending on whether they've asked me for information and we've chatted and they've just totally ghosted. Then I just say, like, I always use their name because I feel like that's more personal. So, hey, Rachel, I'm just finalizing all the details for our group, and I wanted to check in to see if you're still interested in joining me, or if there's still something holding you back. Should I keep holding your spot? So that's if we've chatted, they've asked for information, we've kind of figured out some information. And then if I've sent them an invite, honestly, if I send somebody an invite and they don't respond, I just keep loving on them. I keep connecting on their stuff and I keep showing up in their page. So I don't really send a message again. I know they're going to get an invite in about another 6 months. So in between then, I keep connecting with them. If they happen to start watching my stories, then I can invite them from my stories. But for the most part, if I send an invite and they don't get back to me, I just keep connecting, keep building that like trust. So really the only time I send a ghosted message is if they had asked for information and we've chatted a little bit more, and then I'll just be like, I don't know. Again, it's to me, it's like, you know, if someone asked me for information about something and they just kind of walked away, I'd be like, excuse me, did you hear me? Did you see my message? You know, like, I don't have any problem saying, like, I sent you a message and we were talking, like, what do you think? Right? So yeah. Any other questions? Is everybody's brain scrambled?
I'm just having a bit of a hard time figuring out the timeline for between just adding somebody through somebody and then starting to like love on them. About how long of a period, say they never reciprocated, even if they like add you back, but there's never any real connection made, about what amount of time would you let go by before you'd actually do like a formal invite to something?
So the way that it works for me is if I'm adding, I give about 2 weeks, 2 to 3 weeks of connections before I send an invite, just the way my collections are figured out. But if you add people on the 15th and you start inviting for your next group on the 16th or 17th, obviously like be a little bit mindful and don't invite them right away. Like make sure you have kind of connected with these people. So that's why I always try to get into my collections every day to connect with them, because not everyone posts every day. So yeah, like I do try to connect with them for at least two to 3 weeks before I'm sending them an invite to something. That gives them a chance to check me out, to see my stories, to read my messages, that sort of thing. Yeah.
And by connecting, you just mean liking their photos, commenting on photos, following some of their stories, and then maybe even just popping into their inbox and saying, your kids are super cute, or, your
Yeah.
dog. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like I try, if I see they have a story up, I really try to connect with them through their story. Obviously, sometimes it's super hard, but if it's something that I feel like I can actually connect through, then I do it. So, you know, I know a lot of people, and maybe this is just my circle, but I know a lot of people put up like draws, like Instagram giveaways. They put those up in their stories. So I know there was like a Muskoka Brewery one going around for a while, and I'm like, oh my goodness, like, did you win this? Like that place would be so amazing to go to. And a lot of that conversation started, no, I've never been there. Where do you live? Well, where do you live? So even stuff like that, you can just, ask a question, start a conversation. Yeah. I know there is, Shauna, it is like that's why I like a pen and paper, because it's like a lot of like from here to here, put them here, from here to here, put them here. And feel free to like send me messages on like Instagram or Facebook or whatever if you have questions about like setting up your collections. And then, you can, feel free to ask questions.
I'll probably have to rewatch this just so I can take more notes. I had one more question about how long do you usually take to sit down in your hour or your 2 hours or whatever you're doing for your invites on top at the end or whatever?
So my invites honestly don't take me that long. I don't really time them. I kind of base my invites off of what time of month it is, whether, like whether it's time for me to fill my boot camp or whether it's time for me to fill my coaching. And then, I don't really schedule out time for my invites. It's just something I know that if it's, if I've been putting up a call to action in my stories, then I can invite from there. So I don't really time my invites. I just know, obviously, like the first 2 weeks of each month I'm filling into for my next boot camp. So I'm usually sending some invites every single day, and I just make sure I get those done. Yeah. I know like a lot of people like to send their invites first thing. So if I'm kind of feeling a bit blah, instead of expanding right away, I'll send my invites right away. And then I'll go into the rest of my power hour. So that might mean that some of my connecting time gets cut short, but at least I've got my invites done.
Great. Perfect. Thanks.
Yeah.
Thanks so much for this. It was great.
Yeah, you're welcome. How far ahead of day one do you send invites? So I start doing hard call to actions the last couple days of each month. So like October 30th, 31st, I'll be putting, hard call to actions up in my stories for my November group, my November boot camp. So essentially November 1st hits and I start inviting because I've already gotten a couple days of like call to actions up in my group. So yeah. And that this all being said, if something doesn't feel good, you don't have to do it. You want to run your business in a way that makes you sleep at night. So if you only want to invite from the people that follow you, then sort them after they follow you, right? Like you can expand, do your connections, you get your followers. Well, depending on what time of month they follow you, then put them in their homes, then decide if you want to connect with them. So it just kind of depends on, where you feel is good for your business. Yeah. So thanks for asking hard questions and making my brain really think, because my brain really had to think through some of those questions. Thanks for making me work on my communication skills.
Thank you, Stacey. That was really, really good. It's always so nice to see like how other people do this, right? Like the work is the same, but just learning someone else's systems can be like, oh my gosh, that makes so much sense. Like this is something I can implement. This is something that's doable. So I really appreciate that.
Yeah, I know. Sorry, one more thing. I did try doing like a follow-up collection. So if someone asked me for information, I would pull them out of that month and put them into a follow-up collection. But then I found I was losing people because I just couldn't keep track. So I still do all my, like, as soon as someone asks me for information, their name goes on a piece of paper, and I do all my follow-ups from paper because I couldn't keep track of them digitally. So connections are in digital, but as soon as someone asks information, coaching, bootcamp, on paper, and then that's where my follow-ups come from. And my follow-ups get an invite every single month, no matter what. They've asked me for information and then they've ghosted me, or they said, no, it's not a good time, then they get an invite again and again with some connections in between.
And like you can use, because I actually had kind of forgotten about collections. So I just went in and looked, and I have like a bunch of different collections that, and like you can use this for so many different ways too. Like I have like post ideas as one of my collections, and I've put in like a bunch of posts, like just when you're scrolling Instagram and you're like, ooh, that's a good idea, you can save it into your collection so you have like some ideas to pull from, or maybe some like pictures that you want to sort of like replicate. If you're like, oh, I love like that image, like I love how she took a picture of herself like that, and you can like start a collection like that. Like I had a kitchen collections that I didn't even know I had, and like quotes collection, so quotes that I could make for my own feed. And I have one
It's
called
almost like
Interesting.
Pinterest, right?
It is like Pinterest. Yeah, so I'm finding all kinds of real cool things here.
Yeah, so like I know I have my business collections, I have my inspiration accounts where I find my people from collections, I have my coaching potential collections, I have my like Megan said, I have like my post idea collections. So yeah, I have it's essentially like Pinterest, only Instagram, and you pin people instead of things in quotes. Yeah. Yeah. All right. Any more questions before we head off for the night? I'll be adding, my invites under this recording. So again, just make them your own, make them sound like you. If you don't do a fitness boot camp, then do your group or whatever. And then, yeah, if you have questions, you can always message me on Instagram or Facebook. Yeah, you guys are all good. Everyone's good. All right. Thanks for coming on tonight, guys. We'll chat later.
Thank you.